Okay, lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video, which is going to be the review for issue 39 of Warhammer Combat Patrol. These are our 5 Wraithguard, so they've packed them all in on the one issue. My delivery dropped today, which is what, Wednesday the 4th of June, which means I also have issue 40, 41 and 42. So come and join me on the desk and we will have a look through issue 39. Right then, lovelies, let's have a look at issue 39 of Warhammer Combat Patrol. It's our Wraithguard, the 5 constructs. Come on. Yeah, so the 5 constructs that are similar in design to the Wraith Knight that we have previously built. 40mm basis for these. Let's just pop it there for now. Let's have a look at these. What do we get? We get the data sheets for the Chaos Terminators, which we're getting in issue 40, and the data sheet for the Wraithguard with this issue. We are getting stratagems for the Chaos Space Marines, I think. Hateful Exhortation, Default Enhancement. Yeah, Champion of the Dark Gods. So that's for the Chaos Space Marines, I believe. So that's those bits, that's those bits. We also have more stuff. We have the stratagems here. We have more stratagems. These are for Insane Bravery, Grenade, Tank Shock. These, I can't see if these are for a particular faction. No, I can't see. We also have Smokescreen, Heroic Intervention. Command reroll, counter-offensive. Right, okay, so yeah, we've got different stratagems here. We also have a couple more pieces of terrain. So one side has a border and one side doesn't. I'm assuming that might denote area of effect within the border. And then there's that. So we have potentially either just a hatchway or a missile silo cover, and then just a bit of fauna and flora, flora and fauna even. And then we have some orky stratagems. Wrong, actually. There, some orc data cards stratagems. There, right. A war boss in mega armor. Can't find the words today. So here is our war boss. Now I already have a war boss, which came with the Assault on Blackreach set. We have the boys, which I'm not going to lie, I'm not overly impressed with these beast snagger things. Don't like them. Prefer the old boys. We then have a Death Dread, and I'm looking forward to getting this. This hasn't been punched very well. looking forward to getting that one. And then we have the Death Copters. Now, again, I already have 3 Death Copters because of Assault on Blackreach. And the Death Copters were brilliant in Blackreach. So there's our 4 data cards for the Orc Combat Patrol, which we will see. We will start collecting that. The first figure is in 41. Here is the magazine. What's it say? Doesn't say. You also receive new terrain cards that you can use on your battlefields. There are guides to help you build and paint your later. So not much actually information with regards to what we get and as to what is each. Right, so we're building the Wraithguard. Now there are various weapon options which include axes and swords, as well as the rifles that it's asking us to build. I want to see if I can get some slightly more dynamic posing going on. Should be possible with because the multi-part bodies. So you've got the body, so you've got the main torso. You've then got the hip joint and the legs. So you should, in theory, be able to have a small amount of posability. Yeah. Let's see what we can do. I might see if I can bring up the weapons so that they're perhaps more in a firing position. Obviously, they are going. Is it Siam Ham? Which is why they're being painted red. Mine are Oathway, so I will be painting mine black with a Wraithbone head. That's what they're going to look like. Right, here we go. So you have a D6 rolling chart, and you can write down your unit name. So background table, D6 rolling chart. Then you have a data sheet. So the Wraithguard have a 6-inch move. They're 6 toughness. They've got a 2-up save. They've got 3 wounds. The leadership is 8+, and they've got objective control 1. It's got listed here the Wraith Cannon. So it's an 18-inch range, 1 attack, ballistic skill 4+, strength 14, -4 AP, D6 +1. So the minimum you're going to do is 2, and the maximum that you're going to do is 7 damage. Melee weapons, it says it's got a close combat weapon, so I'm assuming it's maybe got like a sword or something, or a dagger. Range, it says melee, it's 3 attacks, weapon skill is 4+, strength 5, 0 AP and 1 damage. Combat patrol inclusion. In games where you are using Aeldari Space Marines, the Aeldari Space Marines Combat Patrol, what? In games where you are using the Aeldari Space Marines Combat Patrol, I think that's supposed to just be Aeldari Combat Patrol. The Firebreakers, you may, before selecting an enhancement, remove the Wraith Lord from your army and replace them with the Wraithguard. So, sorry, when I said earlier that it was a Wraith Knight, I was wrong, it's the Wraith Lord. Abilities, Wraith constructs, you cannot target this unit with stratagems. Okay, that's good. Strategic reserves in our rules section, and how and when you can bring them on. Terrain features, benefit of cover, and then it's going into craters and rubble, barricades and fuel pipes, battlefield debris and statuary, hills, industrial structures, sealed buildings and armoured containers, woods, and ruins, and we're doing more of the same with the badly punched binder holes. Thank you. Terrain cards, setting up terrain, Battlefield 3 and Statuary. So if people did collect Imperium magazine, and before that, I forget what it was called before that, then you will have a certain amount of terrain anyway. And if you've collected the Terrains Pack Special that was on offer, then you'll have some terrain. But if not, you can use these cards. And there you go. Right, craters, rubble, and barricades and pipes. Then we're on to scenario 25, Ghost Vanguard. We're using battle mats 1 and 2, and deployment zones are in various sectors. You're basically going to have a 4x4 grid on the thing, and you've got different deployment zones. So you got, this is terrain deployment zone here, so there's going to be terrain in there, and Aeldari is in the top left corner, and then the top right 2 corners, and then the Chaos Space Marines are going to be deploying centre right 2 squares. A patrol of Chaos Space Marines comes across an Aeldari scouting party. Eagerly, the Chaos Space Marines move in to attack, but unbeknown to them, a unit of Wraithguard is on its way to reinforce their kin, and the fight is going to be much closer than they were expecting. To play Chaotic Ambush, set up your battlefield as shown below, then follow the deployment instructions. The Aeldari player takes 5 Wraithguard, 10 Guardian Defenders and 1 heavy weapon platform, 3 Wind Riders and 1 Farseer. The Chaos Space Marine player takes 10 Legionnaires, 5 Havocs, Dark Apostle and 2 Dark Disciples. Are we missing something out of the Chaos Space? Oh yeah, the Hellbrook. The Chaos Space Marines player places their units in their deployment zone. The Aeldari player deploys the Wraithguard in Aeldari deployment zone 1, which is here, and their remaining units in either or both of the 2 Aeldari deployment zones. So that's 1 and 2 there, or 2A and 2B, if you want to call it that. To win, at the end of each player's command phase, players score victory points as follows. If they control 1 or more of the objective markers, so you've got 1, 2, 3 objective markers, they score 5 victory points. The player with the highest number of victory points at the end of the 5th battle round is the winner. If both players have an equal number of victory points, the battle is a draw. For a reminder of the rules for controlling an objective, see B Basics 08. And we have our victory and draw conditions here. So there you go. And then we have our Chaos Terminators in the next issue, and then issue 41 we have our War Boss in Mega Armour. Let's have a look at our Wraithguard. So 40mm bases. We got a lot of rifles here, and we got different patterns of rifles. So we have, if we look at this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 split into 2 different types. So I don't know which is which. Let me just have a look at the instructions. So we are using this one here, which is the Wraith cannon. I don't know what these are called, but you could quite easily swap them out by the look of it. So these are our weapons that they are showing us to use. There are... Where have they gone? I thought I saw them. So there are these axes. So we've got 4 there. 4, just the 4? Potentially just the 4. No, there's 5. There's number 5. And then we have all these swords, these scimitar swords. Yeah, each of the models, the head appears to be built up in 2 sections. So you have an inner bit which is inserted into this head carapace here. We have various kind of loincloths and various wraith blades that project out the back of the torso. Various different ones here and here. So there's a lot of spares on this kit. There are an awful lot of arms as well, different arms. Some that are just in a fist, and then obviously we've got the ones that just terminate in a wrist, which you then glue your axes or swords to. So, as I say, there are going to be plenty of spares for this. It looks like the main torso and legs are separated, so that it looks like each sort of like body set is separated into its own little thing. So when you look at it, you've got one here as well. You've then got another one. Where is it? Here. And then there is one. There's one here, and then one there. So that's kind of how they've set these out. There's not really a lot, because these are all smooth lines. There's not massive amounts of detail on some of these things that would come out the back here. So you would like insert that into the back of that. There is some runic writing, some Aeldari runic writing. We're going to be using these on our torso backs, these things here, which look great. I quite like those. Yeah, they are going to look good. These heads, I'm probably going to spray the undersides black, and then in order to get ahead with the, no pun intended, to get ahead with the painting process, spray the underside black, because this is going to be black because I'm mine are all the way. And then flip it over and just spray the top section with Wraithbone, so that I basically have a bit of a head start. Yeah. Right, let's get on the desk and get some of these built. I'll see you in a second. Hey lovelies, should we build a couple of Wraithguard? I think they're called. Wraithguard. I keep getting them confused because it was a Wraith Lord we built previously, not a Wraith Knight. I keep calling it a Wraith Knight and it's not right. It's a Wraith Lord, and these are Wraithguard. I do like them actually. I haven't stuck their heads on because I'm going to be using different colours. But I actually like them as miniatures. The sculpt date was, did I say it was 2019 or earlier? Where are we? Where's the sculpt date? It's not written on that one. 2012. For 2012, these are actually really nice. These are actually really nice minis. I like the poses. I like the way that they go together. Yeah, do you know what? Thumbs up from me, to be quite honest. Anyhow, let's get building rather than gabbing off. The first thing I'm going to do is the legs and the hips. So what you need to do is you have your abdomen here with the hips, and there's a little dimple right at the front, and this needs to face forward. Okay, so that is your essentially the forward facing part of that is the front of the hips and the torso. Now unlike some, so for example on the Necron flayed ones that we had with Imperium, they were an absolute pig to put together, but these are nicely, these have got square holes, square pegs, so you're going to put these into position and you know they're going to locate without any issues. So we got this guy walking forward. So just do that. And then what I'm going to do is stick it to the base. So stick that down. Now I just need to check on which tabard I'm using, and then put that in the dimple. There's a little tab on the back of the tabard which locates into that dimple, and there you go. Your tabard is on. So let's pop that aside to go off. Now, torso, your main torso is made up of 3 parts. You got this, which is the head assembly, or the neck I should say, and the shoulders. So the shoulders are these rounded parts here. That goes in like so. And then you join the 2 halves of the torso together. And that. And you do need to glue these shoulder pads, shoulder pauldrons here. And the way I do that is I just glue them from underneath, making sure that the glue has moved along the seam by capillary action so that we can glue them on. Right, so there's your torso. You've then got this spine, which goes on the back. Like so. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the weapon into position, and I just want to check that. So this is kind of like almost a low port position, which I think is ideal for this kind of marching forward, patrolling forward in a way. Just a dab onto the wrist there, and then we have the arm. That's going to go on and just okay, that and that, and there you go. So that's your torso. Just let that go off a sec, and then the head is in two parts. It's very xenomorph like. A lot of these heads are kind of xenomorph like on these wraith constructs. I don't know if that's deliberate. So right, I'm not going to glue the heads on so as to allow me to as I say, paint them slightly differently. I'm going to spray them black from underneath, and then the head itself is going to be wraith bone. So there is that one in that kind of patrolling position, patrolling forward, weapon in the low port, ready to be brought up should you come under contact. And then we just have this one here, which again is going to go together in the same way. So let's just separate the torso out. We got the hips, the legs, the weapon arm, and then the head. So again, just making sure that your torso is your torso is facing forward. That dimple is forward. Go onto the base like so. I'm just going to bring a little bit more glue in. Typical. Get stuck. That's better. Right, so we've got this kind of stepping forward motion, and again, same way with the neck and head. So a little bit there, slide that on into position, and each of these back plates on the neck is different, which I like. Kind of gives a lot of individuality to the miniatures, and the spines on the backpack that protrude from the backpack are all different as well. It's a similar design aesthetic, but the actual spines themselves are all different. So there we go, and then come on. There you go. Now let's glue the head together. Then we have the weapon, and the reason I I quite often, with a lot of my miniatures, I won't glue a head on until I've looked at the position of the weapon and the way that is. And sometimes I won't, with a lot of these almost monopose models that we get where the torso and legs are attached, which is kind of like the norm these days with a lot of GW miniatures. I won't put a head on until I've positioned the weapons to ensure that it looks more natural. So there we go, there's that. I need to just pop this tabard into position. Turn that upside down. Oops, not that it helped. And there you go, that's in. And on. So bingo. And then let's whack that on like that. I think will do the trick. So there's that one. We've got this guy, this other wide stance, and then we have two in motion. There's him and this one too. So yeah, those are all the Wraithguard. 5 heads as well, so they'll be attached once I've painted them. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the Wraithguard, and I will see you in the next video. Alright, take care, bye bye.